I started having some memory issues. And anybody, when you're getting older, you're going to, you're going to walk out in the kitchen and ask yourself, what did I come out here in the kitchen for? I mean, we all do that stuff, but this was alarming.
Roxanne, how did you find Carnivore?
Well, first I found keto. And the way I found keto was a friend of mine that I used to work with, a young friend. Kind of think of her as a daughter, really. And her marriage went south, and she ended up getting a divorce, and she had gained like 99, well, we'll just say 100 pounds. She gained 100 pounds. And she was a young mother, and she lost that weight in a year. I was just like, wow. I was friends with her on Facebook, so I did see some posts she put on. And I talked to her about it, and I said, how did you lose that weight? And because I was very heavy, and I've been heavy for a long time. And I also went through a divorce, and I struggled. I didn't start out my life overweight. I had a lot of periods of my life when I was actually, thin or normal size. But I think my problem with food was more of an emotional thing and an addiction too. But, and I looked at my friend that way too. I think that's what happened to her. And she said, well, I do keto. And I said, well, what's keto? So I began to investigate it on YouTube after she told me about it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. I think I could do that. I'm going to try to do it. And she inspired me. So I decided to do it. And I did it for 8 months last year. And I lost like 50 pounds. And I hit like a plateau. Uh, it was just like a wall. I just couldn't penetrate and couldn't lose anymore. And I had a lot more to lose. So and I kind of got a little discouraged with keto because there's all that stuff that you have to kind of keep up with, like how much fat, how much this, all that kind of stuff. I've just never been good with that, keeping tallies and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not really good with that. I don't keep up with things like that. So um, I kept hearing Dr. Ken Berry. He was the main one I listened to. I kept hearing him talk about carnivore. He talked about keto when I first started listening, but he also talked about carnivore. And I thought to myself, that sounds really drastic. that sounds like, woo, So I kind of held back, and I was like, I don't think I want to do carnivore. But I kept hitting this wall I couldn't penetrate for whatever reason. So I just got to the place back in, I think it was January this year. I got into this place, my head got in the right place, and I just told myself, look, at my age, 67, at my age, I better do something. So I need to get the rest of this weight off. I want the rest of the weight off. And I made up my mind. I'm going to do the carnivore. Now, what I decided to do was give myself a goal of just trying it like for, I think it was 30 days I was going to try it for. And I told my son, I have twin sons, and I told one of my twins, I said, I'm going to do this. And he just kind of went, that sounds, Mom, that doesn't sound good. That sounds crazy. And I said, I've made my mind up. I'm going to try it for a short time. And he decided, I I started in February, the beginning of February. I went to visit his twin brother. I went to visit him in Arizona. And I thought, well, while I'm in Arizona, I'll just have some chocolate, maybe some ice cream, whatever, for a week. When I come back, I'm doing carnivore. So that's what I did. But his brother decided, I'll go ahead and start it. He started a week before I did. And I told him, just check out the videos. And I named some people. I mean, the people I mostly listen to are Ken Berry, the Beef and Butter gal. I listen to her some. Um, Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, I think that's his name. I listen to testimonies, and that's why I listen to your channel, because you're hearing testimonies from people and you're getting ideas from them and you're getting help, and um, you're getting encouragement, really, so that's why I ended up starting keto, or carnivore. And after 30 days, I made a decision that I was going to stay on it. It wasn't going to be a temporary thing, because if I feel like this, why would I want to risk going back and doing anything different than this? And this has been since February. I cannot think of any reason to do anything different, because I made a list of my positive things that's happened to me since I've done carnivore. And maybe the top on my list might surprise some people, I don't know. But I helped take care of a 98-year-old woman. She's sharp. She keeps up with the news. She's just amazing, for her. She'll actually be 98 July the 4th. So here's one of the things I started noticing with myself the last 6 months before I started carnivore. I started having some memory issues. And anybody, when you're getting older, you're going to you're going to walk out in the kitchen and ask yourself, what did I come out here in the kitchen for? I mean, we all do that stuff, but this was alarming. The focus, no focus, couldn't remember things. My mother, who's 86 and also helps take care of elderly people, believe it or not, she she would talk about her memory. But I started realizing I'm not remembering things. If my mom said, "Hey, could you bring something from the store, bring something from your house to me?" I would totally forget about it. I would just forget. I couldn't remember anything. And I thought, well, here I am, 30 years younger than this woman, and I'm helping take care of. And if my memory's like this now, what is going on? What is happening? So my number one thing I wrote down, the number one thing is, within 2 to 3 weeks after starting carnivore, my memory changed. Everything changed. My focus, my alertness, being able to remember things. I mean, I noticed that right away. And it was just like kind of mind blowing, really. I mean, it was just like, wow. And then the other things that I wrote down, the second thing that I wrote down was no pain. Now, I wasn't in a lot of pain. I wasn't somebody that, I have a knee replacement I had done several years ago. I've had some tendon problems with, one ankle, and um, I wasn't somebody that really took a lot, ibuprofen or anything very often, but um, I did start noticing my hands would start aching, kind of like that arthritic thing. And after starting carnivore, that totally went away. I mean, I mean, the only thing that ever pain wise bothers me is occasionally I have a little issue with sciatic nerve. If that thing gets triggered a little bit, it's not real bad, but I can feel a little of that. But that was something. The energy went way up. Before, I had no energy. Um, I have a lot of grandkids. I have 11 grandchildren, four great grandchildren, a set of twins in there of great grandchildren, and one on the way. And half of those grandkids are young. They're still, 14 down to 6 or 5. And I just don't have the energy to do things with them, and that was depressing. And depression was another thing. I suffered with bouts of depression for on and off for a very long time. Clear back when I was probably 20 years old is when that first started. And that was another amazing thing. No depression. I mean, used to be, it was easy for me to just, um, take a nap in the middle of the day or just not want to do anything. But now, um, even if I did want to take a nap, it's not going to be for very long because I'm just going to be awake and want to do things. So, and then there's the weight loss, a lot of inches, a lot of inches more than what you notice on the scale. And a lot of the people that, I listen to explain, well, you're building muscle mass, you know, but the inches, yeah, I mean, the difference in my clothes and all that since February has been pretty. Uh, and here's another one that I like. If you had addictions to food or uh, you know, the fact that you're overweight is because you obviously eat too much. You think a lot about food, and I did that on keto too. That was something I didn't like about keto. Even though if you follow the plan perfectly with keto, you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel better, and all that. But the marketing with keto and with a lot of YouTube channels, oh, we can show you how to make this chocolate cake, keto chocolate cake, or keto brownies, or keto waffles, and so you start thinking about food. Oh, let's see, what am I going to fix today? So you're doing all that, and you're still thinking about food. With this, I don't think about food. I just don't think about it. I usually only eat once a day. Sometimes I eat twice a day, but usually I wait until like 11 to 12 o'clock and I might have bacon and eggs then. And then maybe 2 hours later, I have a ribeye. And I, some people don't drink coffee. I do drink coffee. I don't have a problem with coffee that I know of. And what I like to do with coffee is I like to put heavy whipping cream and butter in it. And I'm kind of like I don't really want to drink coffee unless it has butter and heavy whipping cream in it, and that helps me keep my fat, my fat intake good. So I don't think about food, and I'm not hungry. Um, I'm just not hungry. I mean, I'm going like 18 hours a lot of times with no food. And I have fasted one day, 24 hours without food, over 24 hours. And really, what I want to do is to start fasting maybe, twice a week, uh, 2 days a week. I think that would be really great. That's like a goal I have that I want to do. Some other things that I noticed was skin improvements because I'm a very fair skinned person, and usually I get burned. And this year, I notice I go out and I mow my own grass, do my own weed eating, and things like that. And usually you get a burn, and even if it's not a real bad burn, it lasts for a few days or whatever. And what I've noticed is that my skin, it may get a little splotchy red, and then the next morning it's gone. And it feels different because I kind of had dry skin. And so my skin feels different. It doesn't feel dry like it used to. My nails, my fingernails, and my toenails too. But I noticed with my fingernails, they would sometimes have grooves in them, or uh, all I know is now they're smooth and glossy. They're not. They don't. I don't know what any of that means. It's just something I noticed. And let's see, what else did I write down? Um, I can just recently. I went to Virginia Beach with a couple of my friends, and there's a very old lighthouse there that we went to see, and you have to walk up 79 steps to get to this lighthouse. Not on the inside. This was on the outside just to get up to the lighthouse. And I went up there and didn't get out of breath at all. I mean, it was hot out too, but I mean, I didn't get out of breath. Uh, Before I did Carnivore, I would have took about 5 breaks on the way up there. I mean, easily I would have. So that was, just being able to go on long walks. If I want to go on a long walk, um, I have not. I can't even think really of a time that I really felt out of breath. Honestly, since doing anything, maybe sweat a little bit, but not out of breath. Another thing I had was, my mom has this too. There's a gland right here under your neck, two on either side of your neck. And I even had this when I was not overweight. It would feel like, you could feel it. It'd be like a knot. And whenever I'd go to the doctor on both sides, the doctor would always kind of feel your neck, and all this, and he would just kind of go up in there. And I noticed whenever I felt that, I would feel that, and it's went away. I mean, the only thing I can think is those glands. It was almost like they were maybe swollen or something, and they are not swollen. So you don't really feel them like I used to. I don't know what that means, but I take it as a good thing. And another thing I put down was, us females. You guys don't have to, um, won't relate to this, but I'm sure you've heard of it. When women get older, and sometimes they're not necessarily older, but when women get older, they will find hair on their face they don't want there. So, they use tweezers or whatever. I am not getting that hair like I used to. And I knew the exact spots where this hair would show up, and I knew exactly what to do. It's not there. Um, I mean, it's just not there. So I'm not saying it's completely stopped. I'm just saying that's a difference. It's a change, because that was a regular thing that you checked into and whatever. And I think I've covered most of my pluses for Carnivore. Um, I am going to share this about my son who went on it too. He lost 36 pounds. He's a dad that has 6 children. One is a grown girl who has a child and one on the way, but his second marriage, he has 5 children that are all home. So he does a lot of things with them. He does camping. He takes them trips. He does a lot of things with them. And I think if a person saw him, they wouldn't necessarily think, well, he's overweight or whatever. Maybe a little, not a lot, but um, he's lost 36 pounds. He looks like he did when he was in the service. Now he's 47. He looks like he did when he was in service. He really does. And I think he's pretty much, from what I understand, he's the one that scoffed at me and said, "Oh, And now I think he's pretty much staying on it. Now, occasionally, and I do this occasionally, I might have 2 strawberries or a little piece of watermelon once in a while. Um, I've done a little bit of ketovore, just a little, not very often, but maybe I'll have some cucumber with some blue cheese dressing, or I don't know, just a little bit of this or a little bit of that. But generally, I just stick to the beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. I do occasionally have shrimp. I do occasionally have chicken wings because I like spicy food. and I don't know the pros and cons. I use mostly just salt. I use like Redmond salt. I do use Tabasco sometimes, like on chicken wings, because when I look at the ingredients of Tabasco, I'm only seeing vinegar and peppers. Very short list of ingredients. But I guess with everybody, you have to test what bothers you or doesn't bother you. And so far, those kind of things don't bother me. And, I know a lot of people that start carnivore, they have health problems like skin problems or, you know, just health problems. And I'm not saying, I think I was well on my way of having some serious health problems, really. But the only kind of medication any doctors had ever put me on was when I was in management at a big department store, and for the first time in my life, my blood pressure went up a little bit. So they put me on a low dose blood pressure medicine. They put me on a low dose thyroid medicine years ago. Because I haven't, other than having this knee replacement and an accident, I don't go to doctors. I don't have a doctor. Um, I'm seriously thinking about going and having my blood work done because I want to see the results. You know, I can't compare because I don't even remember the last time I had blood work done. I'm not sure I've ever had blood. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Um, I am very anti-pharmaceutical, and I don't know if you know this or not, but that word pharmaceutical or pharmacy comes from a Greek word called pharmakia. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to give you something real interesting for anybody out there. Um, and look, I understand there's certain things you talk about you could get in trouble for. I mean, I get that. Uh, but I'm a pretty open, frank person, and I'm not going to change, you know, being that way. Uh, a pharmakia, the Greek word for for pharmacy and pharmaceutical, comes from the Greek word pharmakia. This is what it means: witchcraft and sorcery. That's what it means. I mean, anybody can look that up. That's a fact. Okay. How interesting, right? So I have a very high distrust for pharmaceuticals. I just do. I don't want any pharmaceuticals. The only kind of supplements I take right now, and I feel like I should, is I take a little extra potassium, a little extra magnesium, and I take iodine drops. And that's it. I don't, um, I did suffer with heartburn before carnivore, and I will take a small dose of that. I don't know that I really need to. I really need to research that and figure that one out. But that's the other thing. But I've had a son that passed away who was addicted to drugs. Um, I'm not going to go into all um, the reasons. I live in West Virginia. West Virginia has a high drug addiction rate. Um, in this state. And of course, it's not just here; it's everywhere in this country. It's everywhere, and it gives me the zeal to despise um, drugs, especially these kind of drugs that affect your mind, drugs that they give people um, that they'll tell you right on TV here in the United States. They'll tell you, well, this is a drug for depression or for being bipolar. It could cause suicidal thoughts. Okay. You're seeing that on TV and you're thinking, okay, you're going to give me a drug. You're going to give people a drug because they're depressed, but they could have suicidal thoughts because of this drug. I mean, it's a no brainer. Just, but, but anyway, uh, I think I shared in my email with you. I I follow Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus. And the reason I don't call myself a Christian, I don't really like that word because that word is plastered on a lot of places and a lot of buildings and a lot of religions and a lot of whatever. I prefer to call myself a follower and a believer because um, there's a difference between following a religion that maybe you were brought up in and your grandparents, your mother, whatever, and actually knowing him, meeting him, having a relationship with him, having an experience with him, which I did. So um, I found out, I found some interesting things in the scripture, even to do with that. It's sort of related to carnivore. One of them I was reading the other day it takes place in Daniel, and when it's the first chapter of Daniel, and when him and the other three friends of his, they were selected from um, all the Jews that were there that were in captivity. They were selected for their intelligence and wisdom. The king wanted the best people around him, the very, very best advisors and all that. And Daniel, um, the king also wanted all these people, that boys and whatever that were selected for him, he wanted them to eat the very best he had. So he gave them the same meat he ate at his table, the same wine he had at his table. That's what he wanted them to have. But Daniel had a problem with that because it doesn't tell you in the scripture why. What you can probably figure out is because he would be breaking the Jewish laws by eating the meat that the king provided, the meats, because maybe they weren't prepared according to Jewish law. Maybe they were maybe not kosher. I'm not really sure. But Daniel told the guy that was overseeing them, that was supposed to make them eat this meat, he said, could you just give us, it's called pulse in the Bible. When I looked it up, it's like vegetables, maybe some fruits, but it's mostly vegetables, just stuff, grains. Just give me and the other three boys with me, just give us that. And the eunuch said, I can't do that. He said, because you're going to look like you're wasting away, and then the king is going to be upset with me, and I'm going to be in trouble. So Daniel said, okay. He said, just give us 10 days of that. 10, because they had to eat this, they were supposed to eat this meat for 3 years that at the king's that the king provided. So he said, just give us that for 10 days and let's see what happens. So what happened was Daniel and those other three boys who were with him, they looked healthier. They looked more, their countenance looked better than even the ones that were eating the king's meats. Now, some people would look at that scripture and they would say, oh, well, being a vegetarian, maybe, that's what it's about or whatever. But that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was there was a miracle that took place. Even though they weren't eating anything that could make them look good, like the guys eating meat, they still came out looking better than them. And I thought that was an interesting story. Lots of reasons in the Bible that meat is a highly sustainable food. Anybody that says you're not supposed to eat meat, or, you're supposed to be, there's so much vegetarianism, so much veganism, and you're not supposed, the scripture even tells you in the New Testament, you're not supposed to forbid people to eat meat.
So just on one of those last points that you made, this kind of ties back to something that you said earlier, about, you just never feel hungry. You can just, you've got that stamina, you can just go, that, how is that feeling for you? That, I mean, like that food freedom in
Oh my.
comparison to the time, the before times.
Well, uh, it's To me, it's so amazing that I have to share that with people, especially when I see people that are not healthy. When you know, after a while, you notice on people's faces. You can look at somebody's face and see, you can recognize what you went through, you know, or you can recognize. I felt like I feel like God brought me to this thing because He knew in my heart that I was just getting desperate. That I was getting desperate. I need help. I mean, I've tried different things. Um, this was easy for me. Now, maybe it was easier for me because I did keto first. Maybe it was. I can't say one way or the other. I mean, I'll tell you what, the sugar cravings, that kind of stuff that some people have to go, you know, a couple weeks before they get past that. I didn't really have to deal with that because I had done keto. So I think that was, you know, a given. But it's hard for me not to share it with people. I have a brother who's type 2 diabetic. Um, I guess maybe without going into any details, some of my family members, you know, have heard me say things about other things, and they're just like, "She's she's out there. Don't pay attention to her," you know, that kind of thing. And maybe later they find out, well, maybe it wasn't that far out there, whatever it was I was telling them about. But when it comes to your health, and you see so many people, I mean, every time people in this country are very unhealthy. And I think there's a design behind it. I think there's an agenda behind it. To be honest with you, that's what I think. So I have a hard time being quiet about it. Um, it's not my religion or anything, you know, or anything like that. But if you can make these changes, and it's going to make you feel like you're, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you're a teenager again. Uh, it's like you're young again, uh, because physically you can do all these things. You're not suffering pain. You're not thinking about food. You're satisfied. You know, I don't get tired of eating bacon and eggs and beef. I mean, I really don't. That's the honest truth. Now, sometimes I might eat a little shrimp or this or that, but um, no, I don't get tired of it. I really don't. And the beef and butter gal said something one day. I was listening to one of her videos, and now there's something I can't do that she does because I don't have a gallbladder. So I'm just letting people know, if you don't have a gallbladder, you better check into this. You don't want to eat a half a stick of butter like that girl does. Don't do that. You'll be in trouble. I'm just telling you right up front, you'll be in trouble. I had to figure out right in the beginning when I did this, I had to figure out how to make that work, this butter thing. So that's why I do it with coffee. I do it with coffee. I do it with the heavy cream. And I'm really blessed because I just found a good friend of mine. Her son has a farm not too far away from here, and he can sell raw milk. And he's got this very, I mean, I can get this non-processed whipping cream. I can make my own butter if I want to. I can make my own, if I wanted to make cottage cheese, I can make it myself. But he bought this special cow. When I say it's a special cow, it produces a lot of dairy, a lot of milk, and it tastes unbelievable. It's just so good. It's just unbelievable. So I use the heavy whipping cream from it, and I usually buy butter. I can't always afford Kerrygold, or there's New Zealand butter too that you can buy at Costco. I can't always afford that, but I'll buy Amish. They sell Amish butter here. It's like roll butter in a big roll. I buy it sometimes too. I try to get the good stuff. You just want to tell people, right? You got to tell
Right.
them.
Exactly.
To me,
Um,
it's like, give it 3 weeks. Just give it 3 weeks. You know.
So, without a gallbladder, did you have, obviously the stick of butter was an issue, but did you have any other issues getting into carnivore?
No, no. But yeah, the butter thing. If you don't have a gallbladder, and not having a gallbladder just brings another thing to my mind about what's going on in the processing of food in this country. When over in Europe, they wouldn't approve things that they approve here. And I mean, I've seen the differences in this stuff. There's a there every once in a while I like to watch this. I think the name of the YouTube channel is Jolly or something, but it's these British guys and they try American food for the first time. And the funny ones I like the best is where they take these young boys over there in London in school. They're like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years old. And they introduce them to Thanksgiving meal from America. Like they're eating pumpkin pie, they're eating gravy, or oh, this was a good one, biscuits and gravy. That was a funny one. Um, but you know, over there, like in England, for instance, they wouldn't approve the ingredients that they approve here. And when you look at the back of your box at your ingredients, you're seeing a great big paragraph, you know, with words you can't pronounce, and you have no idea. You have to look that stuff up, but it's definitely not clean, and it does make you wonder: is there an agenda here? I can't help it. I just wonder because I'm looking around. There's a lot of obese people. There's a lot of people that are they have that look in their face, and you do want to help. You do want to just say, just try this for And my one of the girls I work with, I was talking when I first started this. I was telling her about it. Well, she's been on it ever since then. She watches the videos. She does carnivore. That's what she does. And she was on, I think, 5 different meds. I can't be sure. And she's off everything. She quit.
Just going back to a point you talked about carnivore before. You mentioned your son, he's doing well on carnivore, lost 36 pounds. Has anyone, any friends or anyone close to you gone, wow, you're having such good results? Tell me what's going on.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's hard for me not to share these things. Now, my mom, she's very skeptical. She thinks there's no way you can have good blood work. There's no way that that could be good for you. There's just no way. I mean, that's what she thinks. But at the same time, she can see that I'm changing physically. I'm changing. She notices that. Matter of fact, just this evening, she I think I called her, but on my way home, and she was asking me what shirt size I wore now because she had some size shirts that she thought maybe I could wear that are uh, smaller than what I used to wear. And yeah, people definitely have noticed. I've had friends notice, and they would say, "Yeah, you look like you're getting pretty good there. You're losing weight, and you know." Um,
Has anyone jumped on board though?
Vanessa, my one friend, well, I told my son Nathan, the one that's on it. I'm the one that told him about it in the first place, and he just thought it was crazy. Now his twin brother, um, he did keto with me, but even though we didn't live we were cross country from each other, we did keto together, and we encouraged each other, and we passed recipes. He would buy me, which I don't even use now, but he would buy me like blenders to make keto shakes, just all those food chopper thing. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. Little waffle irons to make chaffles with, whatever. And he was on that with me for a while, and he did pretty good with it. And I think where he struggles is, when you're married it could be a struggle if both of you don't want to do the same thing. And I get that. I'm not married, but I can, yeah, I could see where that could be, kind of a struggle. But he's talking about doing carnivore too. Matter of fact, I'm going out. He's near Yellowstone right now, um, and I'm going to go out and spend a week with him next month. And he told me I've already told him some videos to watch, and he said, "Well, me when you come out," he said, "I think I'm just gonna wait till you come out, and then I'll start it with you. I'll start it then." So, you know, yeah, I can't help but tell people. Oh, and I've left out my granddaughter and my grandson. I have a granddaughter who has twin boys. They're babies. They'll be a year old pretty soon. And then her brother, Brandon, who just got sent, he just got sent to the ER from work because the place where he works at, the temperatures are real high in there in the summertime. I don't, and it's just one of those things that's not air conditioned. It's just the kind of work that they do. And he's pretty big, and they told him he had like heat exhaustion or something like that. But his sister, my granddaughter, her and her husband both have been talking about doing carnivore. So they're really good about investigating things. They want to investigate, and they are her husband especially. He wants to eat clean. He wants to eat what's good for you, and so I wouldn't be surprised to hear from them any day that they're not going to do it. So I keep forgetting there's a lot of people I've said things to, and I even the girl that inspired me to do keto, well, she got a new boyfriend and put on 10 or 12 pounds. So so she tells me, I tell her that I'm doing carnivore. So she said, "Oh, I don't know." She said, "I think I might have to do something. I might, well, her son who works in a restaurant with her, they run a restaurant, or they take care of the food, making the food and everything. He's doing carnivore, but he's not doing it strict like maybe the way I do it. He's doing it, but he's also eating some. He's doing more of a ketovore, but he said, I'm really doing everything I can do to eat as clean as possible. That's what he wants to do. So, yeah, I have talked to, yeah, there's been quite a few people I've talked to. So,
Nice. So, how much money would I have to give you to go back to a regular diet?
you couldn't give me any, no money. Yeah,
Really?
do it. I couldn't do it. No, I could never do it. Look, if things get bad in this world, if things get bad and we can't get our meat we want, or whatever, I will just ask the Lord to bless it and take care of it, whatever. But I will not go back. I cannot do it because number one, I don't trust what's in that food. I just can't do it. Um, no, I can't do it. I can't. It's one thing.
Nice.
It's one thing to eat a couple strawberries or a few blueberries once in a while. You know what I mean? It's one thing to do that once in a while, or a vegetable or something, but no, I couldn't. I couldn't. This has been like a miracle for me. I really believe God just used it to work a miracle for me because you know when you don't think about food, when you were so I don't know how I don't even know the words to describe it, but and you don't think about food, I don't think about food. I just don't think about it.
It's true food freedom, right?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
So, Roxanne, if you were giving advice to a friend about getting started with carnivore, what would you recommend?
I can tell you what I've already done. I recommend that they listen to testimonials. That's why I like your channel so well, because you're just hearing straight from the people. And everybody's different. Some people have health problems. Some people have um, skin issues or whatever. I mean, everybody's different. Um, I recommend, this is what I've told people. I've recommended 3 doctors. That's Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, and Ken Berry. I recommend them. I like the beef and butter girl. I like her. Uh, I've listened to other people. I can't remember their names, to be honest with you. And I recommend that they listen to testimonials, because that's the beauty of it. Nobody's making if anybody's making a buck out here on Carnivore, it's just in their YouTube channels. Maybe they're making a buck because they got enough subscribers. I don't know, but the 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 medical, it doesn't seem like the people that work for doctors, nurses, whatever, they're highly skeptical of this whole thing. Most of them are. And so, you need to listen to everyday people's testimonies. You need to listen to how they started, what happened to them. That's the most powerful thing, really. I mean, in getting somebody started. And then, like for me, it just got to the point where it's like, I have got to do something beyond keto. I have got to do something. And when I thought this was going to be hard, and it turned out it's not hard at all. Not for me, it's not. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for other people, but it's not hard at all for me. It's not. If I opened my refrigerator right now, you know what you would see in it? You would see a lot of bottled water. You would see, and that might not be good for me. I don't know, but I can't drink tap water. So I have a lot of bottled water, a lot of blocks of butter, and a lot of eggs. And I pull out of my freezer whatever red meat I'm going to eat the next day to thaw out. And I love my Ninja air fryer. And I wish they would pay me. I would advertise for them. But, I would. But I do everything in that Ninja air fryer. It's beautiful. I love that thing. But yeah, I would just say listen to the testimonials. There's no way you could listen to all of them. How on earth could anybody listen to all of them? Because this thing is growing and growing and growing. You know, it is.
Yeah, it, it is really. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Roxanne, do you have a way of reaching out to you if people want to get in contact, like social media
Yeah, I have a Facebook. I have Facebook. My email. I do X, or what used to be called Twitter. I do it a little bit. I don't really post on it very much though. But I definitely have Facebook. Now, my Facebook is called Bright Dawn, one word, and then Roxanne. Um, Bright Dawn is what Roxanne means. It's a Persian name. So I use that as a handle in my email sometimes, and I use it for that. So yeah, and then you have my email address, pretty sure. Yeah. If they need encouragement, yeah, definitely. I'll
no
encourage.
worries. So I'll link to those below. Roxanne, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you too, hon. I appreciate you.